What's up, everybody? Welcome to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards podcast. I'm the journalist Sincere. That's my partner, Uncle E. And tonight we have a very, very special guest in the house tonight. We have T Money. Thank you so much for joining us.
No doubt, bro. This is a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me.
No doubt. It's definitely an honor. You got a lot of things going on in 2022, but before we get to that, we want to take it all the way back and give you your flowers and acknowledge some history that you have. If you could take us back to where you were born and raised, for those who may not know.
I was born in a suburb of New York City, Westbury, Long Island. Myself and Dr. Dre are from the same town. We went to Westbury High School. Peace out to the Green Dragons. Respect.
Okay.
You know, they're all over the country, the Green Dragons, all over the country, bro. Yeah, Long Island, man. Long Island's my home.
Mine too. I'm from Long Beach.
Okay, Long Beach in the building.
Yeah. Long Beach.
That's right.
So I that's interesting though. I wasn't aware, that you said Dre, right?
Yeah, me and Dre from Westbury.
Man, I didn't realize that, man. So I could add that to my list of icons from Long Island.
Yeah, no question.
Take us back to early days, teenage years, some of your interests and hobbies growing up.
Well, I didn't have too many hobbies, man. I did what I did. I didn't have hobbies, but I played sports, man, as a young kid, man. I was pretty good at a couple. I played football, I ran track, played baseball. My father always wanted me to be, he wanted me to be Willie Stargell. He wanted me to be, a big dude hitting the baseball, you know what I mean? But I wasn't feeling that. So I took football up as my number one sport, and I did pretty good, man, here in Nassau County. And, I was pretty, you know how they say when you get older, the older you get, the better you were.
Right.
but in this case, I was pretty good though. I think football is in my family. My cousin at the time was playing for the University of Michigan. I got another cousin now that plays for the Houston Texans. He used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's part of my family. And I got other cousins who played small college ball like me. So we all played football. We were a sports family. So
yeah. We had Scotty Graham coming out of Long Beach.
Oh, no question.
You remember Scotty Graham?
Yeah. I follow all the Long Island high school players. I follow them.
Dope.
During this time, what are some of your musical influences? Who are you listening to, and is DJing in the plans at this time?
Well, in high school, definitely. Me and DJ, listen to me. My daughter's name is DJ. Hey, DJ, what's up, baby?
Shout out, DJ.
Yeah, no question. No, my influences as it relates to music were vast, man, because I grew up in a household where my parents listened to almost everything. They listened to Miles Davis, they listened to Shaka Khan, they listened to Marvin Gaye, they listened to, when I was growing up, Jackson 5 was happening. My cousin who moved into my parents' home with me, right? So she brought all the Jackson 5 music, you know what I mean? So I got amped, you know what I mean? I'm young and I'm listening to Michael Jackson. That's all I played, so we had like a wide dichotomy of musical interests, my family did. So, I grew up with all types of musical influences. But when I first heard the Fatback Band and King Tim III on record, I was like, wow, this rap thing can really do something that can really take off. So, because we were doing it in the hood, DJing, and everybody was rapping over beats, and we got a lot of that from our trips to the Bronx, because I had cousins that lived in the Bronx, right on Hoe Avenue, up in the Bronx, and I used to go back and forth, and they used to play hip hop joints off these mixtapes, where we would hear Cold Crush, and we would hear the Fantastic, and we would hear all these cats, like kicking the Willy Bobo on some freestyle, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, this is what's up, you know what I'm saying? So, I would bring a lot of that back to Long Island, where here, it was just starting to bubble, So I got excited as it relates to the music, because I figured now, after hearing it on record, I couldn't believe they put it on record, that it was going to go someplace. So it was a life-changing event for me when I heard it on record.
Right. Would you say that DJing was your first foray into hip hop? A lot of DJs or MCs would say breaking, graffiti. For you personally, how did you get into hip hop?
Well, I got into hip hop as a DJ. With my parents, you ever see that old? I'm not too sure if you guys are familiar with the old stereo. Remember the old stereo stuff?
Cabinet.
Like stereo, yeah, the cabinet. They look like furniture, right?
Yeah. We have one. We have one.
Oh, you know that. So we had one in my basement, my parents' basement, right? So I was like, oh, so I started scratching on that, and I played with the volume. I was like, oh, this might work. I can actually put together. So I got a little turntable and I put it on top. This was how primitive I was. And I hooked it up. I guess when I'm harking back on what I did, I thought I was pretty genius because I was actually able to play one record on the dinosaur, right? And then I could play another record on the other turntable. So it was a form of mixing. I just turned the volume down on one, turn the volume up on the other. You know what I mean? So
right.
And I used to DJ at my parents' house as a kid with her guests around. Because back then, before I started DJing in the basement, they had you ever see one of those turntables that had like the stacks of 45s on it like this?
Yeah.
And they would just drop one.
Yep.
That was the DJ, dog. You would hear James Brown, then you would hear Marvin Gaye, then you would hear Shaka Khan. That's what you would hear. So it was crazy. So then that's when I started learning that I could actually have a good idea of what music is hot, how to select music, how to influence people to dance, X, Y, and Z. I mean, I was really young at the time. I can't remember how old I was. I had to be 15, 16 years old. So, yeah.
During this time, did you have any mentors, or were you pretty much self-taught?
Well, my biggest mentor in my entire life has always been my dad. My dad was always someone who I could always go to. And when I was young, he influenced myself and my friends growing up. My friends who weren't as fortunate as me to have their fathers around for whatever reason. Their fathers weren't there from the beginning, or their fathers passed. And my father was kind of a mentor to all of us as it relates to us and our DJing career. My father, Dr. Dre will tell you this story. This is a hilarious story. My father was actually a genius. He told us when we first started really, really DJing, like we got techniques and we got Newmark mixer and we started building speakers, right? So we would go out to these open venues to DJ, and we would make speakers and stack speakers. Like back in the days where a lot of the groups had big walls of speakers, we had all that, right? So my father came to one of the gigs one time and told us, he said, what you guys should have go-go dances on the stage. He said, you guys should speak to the people and have go-go dances. And me and Dre were looking at each other like, what the hell are you talking about? But come to find out, many years later, Luke did the same thing. Luke did it, and what happened to him,
Right.
My father was ahead of his time.
Hell yeah.
He was ahead of his time, bro. So it was crazy.
Kind of give us a time frame of when the DJ situation started getting serious for you.
Well, in junior high school, when I was DJing, like I just mentioned, and I wanted to I had greater aspirations in the neighborhood to be better. So I got with some high school friends of mine. These guys had a group called, listen to his name, Warp Factor 2. This guy by the name of Kevin, who ran this group, right? So it was some high school friends, high school friends that, friends hang out, they do the same thing that you do, that you assimilate with them because they have the same interests, right? So,
right.
So, we DJ'd a while and we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. We actually had a breakup as friends. So come to find out that the up and coming DJ that I also knew from high school, I knew actually from 5th grade, lived around the corner. And that was Dr. Dre. So I linked up with Dr. Dre and, I had, we had mutual friends, which lived on his block. So it just made more sense that I gravitated towards them. We did the same things. Dre also went out for sports teams, and so did my friends who were also friends with him. So we vibed through school, and then we got together, and then we just started combining our equipment. Dre had some crazy equipment at his house, and I had stuff that I had purchased through working in the summer. I used to work with my father. Now, let me tell you, I used to work with my father. Now, kids today don't know about work. I used to work for what I got, man. My father ran a custodial business. So at the age of 11, from the age of 11 to about the age of 18, I worked in the summer and after school, cleaning toilets, mopping floors, getting on my hand. I used to strip floors with the big machine. You ever see the big machine that you strip floor?
Yeah.
I learned how to do that as a kid. My father said, "You're gonna learn something." So I got out there and I bought. He would pay me, and I would buy records and buy equipment, and and then I started getting a little something. And then my father, who was great with wood, like he could build anything out of a wood. Any wood, my father could actually put together something out of wood. He was really good with that. So he built us a case, which was called a coffin back then. For our turntable was a mixer. So he put it together. We dialed it up and put the group name on the front. It was called The Concept. And then we thought we were in business. We thought we was doing something until we ran into until we went to college. And we ran into Chuck D and Bill Stephanie and Harry Allen and the Bomb Squad. And then we realized, we were playing DJ at the time. we were like they said in the movie Juice when Latifah called Omar,
you local?
Yeah, we were local.
Yeah.
We're definitely local,
What were you witnessing with Chuck D and Harry Allen and the Bomb Squad earlier on?
Well, Dre met them at Adelphi University where he attended school. I didn't go to Adelphi. I went to New York Tech in my undergrad and later went to NYU. But I remember Dre telling me, how he met them in class, and then he came back and was like, "Yo, they DJ, let's go up to their, to where they are." So I was like, "Cool." So, and at that time, back then, me and Dre, we went everywhere together. We, because we were trying to get our music on, right? So we went up to this dentist office, Dr. Gant. I'll never forget Dr. Gant, 510 South Franklin, right? Hempstead, New York.
Hempstead.
Yeah, Hempstead, New York. So we went up into this dentist office. I was like, "Yo, this is a dentist office. Why everybody here at night? Like, there's nobody getting their teeth work done." Right? So we went upstairs, and then at the end of this hallway, there was an office. It was called Spectrum City, right? And we walked in there, and it was like, yo, these guys are practically the same age as us. I mean, they're, technically they're older than us, but I mean, we all were in college. So we walked in there and we seen nothing but records, right? Vinyl, So that didn't really impress us because me and Dre had a lot of vinyl anyway. But then we went in the other room. They had like a full office, right? Set up. They had a studio set up. I'm like, hold up. What's really going on in here? And then when we went out with them, because we used to hang out with them all the time. I mean, matter of fact, I used to promote parties with them later on when we did WBAU 90.3 FM, the radio station at Adelphi University.
Yep.
We used to promote parties, me, Chuck, Keith, Dre would go, and we would hang up flyers and like, back then your social media was poster boards.
Right.
You used to literally have to go to places and hang up flyers or put flyers in beauty salons or barbershops. You had to actually, do footwork instead of just using your phone. So, and we used to do that. We used to do that in 10-degree weather in the snow and all that, So we could pack 300 people in some kind of hall, But anyway, with that being said, so we were astonished by how advanced they were. They were Keith Shockley and Hank Shockley were producing music for a bunch of local groups. One of the groups was Leaders of the New School. which had Busta Rhymes, Charlie Brown, Dinko D, you know, Milo, and Chuck was also doing his own thing, you know, because he had a deal on Vanguard. It was Chucky D and Butch Cassidy, and the name of the song was "Gotta Check Out the Radio." If you look that up, that's crazy. That's before Chuck was Chuck D. It was Chucky D. You know,
Chucky D. Right.
Chuck, and then Chuck was I remember one night I was sitting right next to the desk he uses. Like he was doing, because by trade, Chuck D is a graphic artist. The Public Enemy logo he did himself. He created that himself, and not with a computer. I'm talking about with the knife and the paper and
right.
He fly with it.
Before you continue, man, let me ask you, because me and Sincere were talking about this. The logo, the Public Enemy logo, the silhouette, is that Bobcat?
No, that's Earl. That's Earl. LL Cool J's man, Earl. That's him.
Oh, Earl. Okay, I thought it was Bobcat.
Not Bobcat. Earl. That's E Love, man. That's
E Love. Okay.
Yeah, he took the silhouette and cut it out and put him in the gun sight. You know.
Right. Okay. Thank
you.
So
what I was trying to say is that Chuck told me, he said, "Yo, it was like 2 a.m, and I think he had mentioned the fact that, well, I'm up working, you know, and the people that I'm competing with, they're probably asleep. You know, that's the kind of mentality they had. You know, just to give you an idea of what they were thinking. You know, they were far ahead of their time. You know, as a conglomerate, you know, of things that they put together, like producing, doing graphic art, managing. They were doing all that stuff back then. Wow. You know, before Public Enemy became a big recording group. They were entrepreneurs. They had the whole spirit. So it took me and Dre back, like, whoa, we got to do something. You know, you got to join. You know, get on the bus or get left. You know, so that's what we did. We combined forces, and the radio station galvanized all of us. You know, through music and the fact that we had the power to actually broadcast the things that we produced, from all the way from Central Long Island, Central Islip to Coney Island. You know, and we were able to do that for free. So we had, I mean, come on, we're kids in college. We're 20 years old, and we had the run of a radio station, you know, with no limitations. So I mean, it worked out for us.
Right. Can you explain a little bit for those that, you know, maybe were outside of New York area that don't really understand the importance of what WBAU was to hip hop, you know, well, in general, but to hip hop back then?
Well, yeah, I mean, back then hip hop was still in its primitive stages. I mean, me and Dre used to DJ, and it was funny how Run DMC was probably the hottest group in the whole entire country, and we had people, you know, promoters telling us that they didn't want to hear rap music. Don't play rap music while you're working for us, otherwise, you know, we won't pay you. And we're talking about some of these are college kids, you know, telling us that, you know. So rap was still like something that it was like an acquired taste still for many people, you know. It wasn't mainstream, it wasn't pop in any sense, you know. It was still new. Even though Rum was on the cover of Rolling Stone, nobody cared about whether or not it was that popular to us, you know. They still had their reservations. So and the importance of BAU was immense. I mean, that radio station allowed us to broadcast the culture, you know, for free. You know, I mean, all you had to do, I mean, Dre and Chuck were students at the school, so they were able, you know, through our friend John Schmidt, who ran the radio station rather, they were able to actually broadcast, and we all were up there. We used to stay up there till 3-4 o'clock in the morning. You know, our show was over at 1, and we used to talk and crack and jokes, and we used to stay there till late. But what's so vitally important about the existence of that radio station, it brought commerce to us through the music. You know, it brought attention to us through the music. Sort of like if you were to have a Instagram page now, and you would you know, you would post something and all of a sudden you get 1 million hits on something. That's kind of because we were reaching that many people, you know.
Right.
And we were noticed by the music industry because we had power, you know. Russell Simmons used to listen to BAU. Rick Rubin listened to it. That's how me and Dre got our deal, through Rick Rubin, because he used to listen to the BAU broadcast. That, you know, he used to listen to the operating room with Dr. Dre, myself, and he used to listen. So it was just crazy. And Run DMC were regulars at the station. LL Cool J, and on top of that, we were able later on in our existence at the radio station to throw concerts in the same building at the university. So remember, we did a concert with the Fat Boys. You know, we had and it was huge. You know what I mean? So that also helped us. You know, so BAU's existence was, and then on top of that, the 510 family, which was Chuck and the Bomb Squad, they were able to actually broadcast the music that they produced. You know, and they had an array of groups other than Leaves of the New School that they were producing. Excuse me, and they were able to broadcast that to the whole entire tri-state. You know, I mean, imagine having that kind of power now, and having it for free. Whenever you have a record, you can broadcast it and do whatever. That's how it was back then. But back then that was impossible to have.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that, you know. So it was very important.
Right. Outside of radio, what kind of dues did you guys pay as the concept crew to get your name out there?
What's the question?
What kind of dues did you pay?
What's he talking about, bro? What is he saying? Is he telling me I was payola? What was he doing?
No.
What kind of dues? What kind of, you know?
Oh, dudes. Oh,
yeah.
What kind of dudes I had to pay? Oh,
no.
What are you talking about, son? No, I'm only kidding. Yo, so what kind of dudes? No, I'm sorry. Ask your question again. I'll answer it. I'm sorry. Ask your question.
Outside of radio, what kind of dues did you guys pay to get your name out there as the concept crew?
Oh, well, to be quite honest with you, as the concept crew, we had to battle. There were other DJ groups. I mean, this is like the story of the local DJ, but you know, you have to start from someplace, right? So there were a lot of local groups here, you know, in Long Island. Everybody wanted to be a DJ, just like at some point everybody wanted to be a rapper, or everybody wants to be X, Y, and Z, right? So, you know, it becomes trendy. So we had to truly battle our way to the top of our neighborhood, you know, and it wasn't easy because we were battling, you know, we were battling good crews. You know, we used to do huge events at our park here every summer, you know, and it would be like, you know, who has the best equipment, who has the loudest equipment, you know what I mean? Who had the most girls, you know? Because honestly, I started DJing because of the girls. I wanted to get the chicks, you know what I mean? But so
there seems to be a common ground among breakers.
When I was a kid, you're right? You want to be popular, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah. So as it relates to dues, it was just the fact that we had to work. Me and Dre used to work a summer job cleaning the middle school, and then we used to take our money and we used to go buy records. We used to go buy records at Crazy Eddie. Remember Crazy Eddie? We used to go to Crazy Eddie and we used to buy records. And I remember one time, I'll never forgive Dre for this shit here. Oh my goodness. One time we didn't have any money. So here we go. So we go into Crazy Eddie and Dre's like, yo, I got enough for two records, right? But I got a way where we can get the rest of them. I was like, what are you talking about? So he goes to the counter, right? He buys the 2 records, then he goes back to the bins and he's going, yo. I said, what? And then he starts putting in records in the same bag, right? So he tells me, he said, yo, go buy a bag, right? Go get a bag, go buy one record, and then start dumping them. I said, oh, bet, right? So now we so damn stupid, right? So we in there not knowing the security is watching, right? So we go in the joint. So we show, and now the bag is, instead of going from this stick, it's like that. You understand? Knowing damn well we ain't buy that many records, right? So and then we have to walk through the store, like we had to walk through the mall, out another store to go through a door. Feel me?
Right.
So we trying to play it cool, like, you know, still nothing, right? So when we got into the department store and the door was like right in front of us, Dre made a dash to the door. When we got in between the door, guess who got caught? Me.
You.
Yo, son, that was crazy, you know. But I ain't snitch. I ain't snitch on them, son. I ain't snitch. I ain't snitch, man. You know what I mean? It was all good.
But, I hope you got some good records at least out of that.
Oh yeah, we got some joints, man. We got joints.
Yo,
they only let us keep the ones that we paid for though, so the rest we had to take back.
A little side note: you were talking about battling, you know, having to battle a lot of cats. We had a guest on. You probably, I don't know, maybe you are familiar with the name. He goes by X-Ray the Mind Bender now, or DJ Webb back then.
Oh yeah, DJ, yeah.
He said he battled you guys at the Martin Luther King Center in Long Beach once.
Oh, no question. Yeah, we was there. We was there with
I think
we was there. We was there with Keith, Public Enemy, not Public Enemy then, but it was Spectrum. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, man. And those joints were so crazy. Yo, those were incredible events right there. Cause we used to have a ball there. You know, a lot of gunplay was happening back then. People from the city don't think Long Island got gunplay, but they got real gunplay.
That's what I say all the time.
You know what I mean? Long Beach back then was hood for real.
Rough. It was rough, man.
Yeah, it was real rough. You know. And it was probably about a quarter mile long, but that didn't matter, you know. So
yeah, because it's a small town, man. It's so like you had like Freeport, Roosevelt, all these, you know, big towns with you know, they had to protect themselves, man. It was
right, exactly. I feel that, you know. And Long Island back then was tough, man. You know, Roosevelt, Hempstead, Westbury, pretty tough. Amityville, you know, Wine Dance, you know.
I'm actually right next to Amityville right now.
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah. I think so just the concept of your name, the Concept Crew. How did that come about? I mean, was it just that simple, new concept?
No, you know, to be quite honest with you, I'd be remiss. I would be lying if I tried to tell you a story about that. I know I didn't come up with the name. It was Dre.
Okay.
Dre came up with the name. The concept was a light bulb or something, and somebody said that it was something in regards to thinking. Mm-hmm. Like, you're a thinking man, and you're conceptual. Like, you have thought concepts, and like, you know, the light bulb. That's why our logo, our original logo, it had the light bulb. It was created by Gary. He actually is a graphic artist too. So. He created the original logo, so, and it was in a light bulb form, you know. Gotcha. So I can't remember how it all came about, but to be quite honest with you, it was something that Dre thought about and what he wanted. So, you know, because to be honest with you, the concept itself was something that Dre had formulated before I even got in the group. Okay. You know, so that was something that, you know, he wanted to do. So he did that. And I was like, I don't care. No matter to me. As long as we get the girls, I'm good. No you know?
Now, at this point, who's all a part of the Concept Crew?
The Concept Crew is Easy G Rockwell, the winner of the 1984 New Music Seminar DJ competition. I'm proud to say.
Okay.
Rapper G. T-Money, Dr. Dre, obviously, and then we had other people that used to hang out with us. You know, we have friends and all that, but those guys were part of the Concept Crew, and that was the Concept Crew. And then I had my man E-Mac. E-Mac was I just spoke to him today, by the way. Peace out to E-Mac. I just spoke to him, but he used to play. You ever see that synthesizer? piano kind of fake guitar looking.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he played keyboards. He's the one that played the bass line on Knowledge Me, original
Oh,
concept.
okay.
Then
Right.
he played that. He played
Which,
that.
which was
Yeah.
that was your guys like promo type of
Yeah, Knowledge
song,
Me
right?
was Knowledge Me was an ode to the streets of Hempstead. We did that promo at for BAU, actually, for WBAU. And we got all that. We got that from the Wizard KG from the Bomb Squad, because he used to walk around talking like that. So we was like, oh, I'm gonna do a promo like that, because we thought it was hilarious, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's where all that came from. And it was weird. It was crazy because when we actually did a song, obviously, as you know, called Knowledge Me, and then we released it on Def Jam.
Right.
And Def Jam released the song, and in Cali, we had no clue that what we were saying was gang related. Not period at all. I was taken aback, because in Cali the record was taken off. You know what I mean? And then we was like, oh, that's dope, because you get your reports from Def Jam, and we were like, oh, because the record wasn't doing a lot of numbers here, but in Cali and on the West Coast, it was doing really well, and we were wondering why. Because I was saying I had gang related terminology in the song, so they was like, yo, and the music and the bass was bumping, so they was with that back then. You know what I mean? So, and then they had to pull it off the radio because we didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Knowledge Me never really took off, and then Def Jam didn't really invest the money into having us remix or do anything else, and it became messy after that. So yeah, man.
But so the lyrics that you were saying on the song, was you were using like a lingo that we used here, but it meant something else over there?
It didn't. No, it was what Keith was saying. Keith said these things, and I said, "Oh, that's cool. Let's be funny, and let's be cool, and let's talk like we talked to everyone." Because all of us started talking like that, but didn't know that was a phraseology that we don't particularly use on the East Coast. They use it on the West Coast. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Crazy.
You co-produced on that song, is that correct?
Yeah, I wrote Knowledge Me, and I co-produced it. Yes, I did.
Okay. At what point did you get into producing?
Oh, well, when me and Dre used to produce, like I said, when we saw Chuck and them, we started to emulate them. So we started producing local artists. We had girl groups and other rappers. We put none of them really took off, but what it gave us the opportunity to learn how to produce. I think, to be quite honest with you, if I have any regrets in this business, I think me and Dre could have actually been a good production team. We your MTV Raps got in the middle of that, and we didn't pursue it like we should have. But we did a lot of songs. I mean, we wrote and produced, co-produced "Proud to Be Black" by Run DMC. We did, and me and Dre were good for doing remixes. We did Young MC remix. We did Slick Rick remix. We did, we were on a roll doing that kind of stuff, and we just didn't continue doing it. So, but we should have continued doing it. That's something, me and Dre were really good at that, But working with those small groups gave us the opportunity to, find out where we were musically, and I think I remember the day Dre bought the Roland 808, and we learned how to program it. It was phenomenal. And Dre and myself are the originators of bass music. The stuff that they listen to in Miami, bass music.
Right.
Yeah, that didn't exist until we did Can You Feel It and Pump That Bass and Knowledge Me. The Roland 808 was our idea to turn it all the way up.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you guys record a demo and shop labels, or was Knowledge Me your way to Def Jam?
Yeah, Knowledge Me was our way to Def Jam, because Rick Rubin thought it was the funniest thing he's ever heard. And that goes to show you, Rick didn't even know about the terminology either, but he thought it was He thought it was the funniest thing he ever heard. He said he wanted to do a whole album like that, you know. And so he listened to it and listening to the radio station because there's a radio promo, a Knowledge Me radio promo.
Right.
And he heard that, you know, and he was like, who are these guys? And, you know, he reached out to Dre and talking about he wanted to give us a deal. And this is when Def Jam first started, you know, when the company was maroon and silver before it was black and silver, you know. But yeah, so that's what happened. So that was our way into. We didn't have to shop a demo, you know, because me and Dre weren't looking for a record deal, you know. So it just happened that way. We were lucky. We were one of the first 5 groups signed to the label. You know, it was us. It was Tila Rock, LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, and Junkyard Band.
Wow.
That's 5.
They're early. Wow.
Real early.
So does the group condense down by the time you get down to Def Jam? Who are the members at this point?
It's the same members. Easy G, Rapper G, T Money, and Dr. Dre. It condensed down as far as, you know, everybody playing a role. I mean, we didn't have the huge following like, you know, like we had when we were a DJ group. You know, we was just, you know, myself and Dr. Dre are the ones who were actually signed to Def Jam. You know, everybody else contributed to the project, you know.
Okay.
I mean, that's how they did it back then, you know, because just like Run DMC, Joey and D are the only ones that signed the profile, and Jay wasn't signed, you know. So that's how they did it back then. It was just the way it was. But you could be part of the group, you know, but you're not part of the whole contractual situation, which was kind of weird. But it is what.
That is kind of weird. Just at what point? Because I read that MCA from the Beastie Boys suggested changing the name to Original Concept. Is that true, or how did that come about?
That's a very true story because we couldn't. When we first got out there, when we went through paperwork, we couldn't use the word the concept. The concept was something else that somebody had, and they had the rights to it. So,
okay.
So you know, in the midst of having a conversation about that, MCA was just like, just call yourselves the Original Concept. Me and Dre hated it. Me and Dre hated it at first.
Yeah.
He was like, that's corny, but then we was like, okay, we'll keep it. You know, it sounds okay. You know, it grew on us. So
right. So, it sounds dope though.
Yeah, you know.
At this time, what are you witnessing as the new guys over at Def Jam? You've got Tila Rock and LL and guys of that nature, the Beastie Boys. What are you witnessing earlier on over at Def Jam?
Well, I tell this story all the time when it's sort of like the same thing that happened. You ever as a person go someplace and for the first time and you never forget your experience there?
Right.
Right. So just like when I went to 510 and we saw Chuck and Keith and Hank and, you know, Eric Sadler, who I didn't mention earlier. We saw all these people and we saw what they were doing. We were taken aback by how efficient and how, you know, how groundbreaking to me they were at the time to be so young and so entrepreneurial, right? Same thing happened when I first met Russell, and we went over to his office on Elizabeth Street. It was Rush, actually. This is pre-Def Jam. This is before Def Jam.
Wow.
And we went there, and you know, it was, you know, because growing up, your parents tell you, well, you can't do this, you know, you can't do this rap stuff forever. You know, there's no future in that. You got to go get a job. You know, you have to go to college. You have to do what's, you know, you have to be corporate in a sense. You have to do X, Y, and Z. You have to go get a job where you have to wear a tie, and you know, and in us growing up, we were like, you know, but Ma, this is not really what I want to do. You know, if I wasn't playing sports, I wanted to do my music, right?
Right.
So, and there didn't seem to be any outlet for that until I met Russell. I went to his office. This is even before Leo Cohen. You know, it was him in the office with him and Heidi, right? Who was his assistant, right? One room, right?
Wow.
It was him with his hat to the side, jeans on, Adidas with no laces. He's on the phone with some big white exec, and he's cursing them out, and he hangs the phone up. And he said, yo, how y'all doing? Y'all good? They said, yeah, we good. He said, don't worry about him. He'll fucking call back. Bring, well, give me a second. Yo, didn't I tell you, blah, 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 I found that clip? And me and Dre were like, yo, this dude's gangster. but then he struck a huge deal with this dude after that.
Wow.
So I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, this is not a corporate situation. This is business, but this is more of a relaxed environment, you know? You know what I mean? So this is more of a hip hop relaxed environment. So it became like, to me, it was like, okay, there is hope again, like harking back to what I said earlier about Kington III, the song, right? Harking back on the Public Enemy 510, South Franklin, right? Now I'm at Rush. Same storyline, right? Like, whoa, here's a life-changing situation. Now I'm not thinking about going to college. Although I did finish school, by the way. Just want to let you know that I finished. Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. But yeah, I was, in my mind, I was like, listen, I'm doing what this dude is doing right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is who I am, you know? So I was able to gravitate towards that, and that's what me and Dre did moving forward. But once they established Def Jam and Tila Rock came out, and you know, Beasties came out with a song, and you know, I saw forward movement, I saw progression. I saw LL when he was 16 years old, man, young, brash. LL was dope when he was young, bro. He was I mean, to us, he was like, yo, he's an incredible rapper, you know? And Rick did a great job of picking him, you know, although, you know, LL kind of forced it down his throat because he was at Rush every day outside waiting for them to give him his demo. Yo, LL was really diligent. He wasn't playing, you know? But
so there's no surprise that he became the person that he is today. Then.
Oh, no, he earned every penny. He earned it because he was not having it. He wanted that. You know, you ever heard that expression, how bad do you really want it? LO should be the poster boy in regards to it. Should be in a book like, yo.
Yeah.
That should be him like, oh, yo, that's me, son.
Yeah, one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, LL Cool J, man. You know? Salute. LL salute, bro.
No doubt.
You know?
Yeah. Going into 87, 88, it's time for your guys' debut album. What are your guys' discussions as far as the direction you wanted to go with that album?
Oh, man, that in itself is a story. We don't have enough time, but I'll give you the cliff notes of that. See, let me tell you. Now, we really had no direction when we were working on that album. It's the first time for us to actually become artists. Me and Dre knew that we were able to produce and make songs. We had a great engineer in Kenny Wallace.
Right.
And we knew we were able to make songs.
Right.
We were caught up between being wild and crazy like the Beastie Boys and being true to ourselves when it came to being lyricists and talking about the struggles of people who are Black people. Like we went from doing songs like Knowledge Me, and then we would have Proud to Be Black on the album. Like we were all over the place in regards to what message we were trying to send. You know, and looking back on those times, I wish we were able to focus on our, you know, what our audience was, but back then, you know, you didn't really know what your audience was. You know, I didn't even understand that concept until I graduated from school. I didn't know anything about that. We were just making songs, and we were making songs for people to dance to, and to party, because that was the prevailing culture at the time. People were making those type of songs until my good friend Carlton Ridenauer, aka Chuck D, decided to make songs that have a more political base. You understand? So, and I can tell you a story. Dre and myself already had our deal on Def Jam. This is before we were working on our album. We had released a couple singles, and that's when Chuck finally got a deal at Def Jam. I mean, he was trying to sign his deal until they signed him and Flav, because they just wanted to sign him.
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck was like, "I'm not having that. You know, you got to sign me and Flav, or there is no deal." So, Rick chased him for months until that happened. You know, so. But my point is that Chuck and me were actually, Chuck came to my house. He came to pick me up, and we drove to Dre's house. You know, this was so long ago. We drove to Dre's house, and he was telling me, "Yeah, I'm getting the deal with Def Jam." I said, "Dope, you know. So what are you gonna rap about?" And he was like, because I'm thinking. He said he asked me my opinion about what he was interested in doing. I said, "Yo, you should do that. You should speak to the people. You should be politically minded." I said, I know for us, we're not on it like that. We just trying to. We might make a few songs, but we're not going to be a politically minded group. But you guys should do that. You have the background for that. You should do that. And Chuck was like, "Cool,"
Right.
And there you go. And Public Enemy months later came out with Rebel Without a Pause, and the rest is history.
Wow. What do you remember most about those recording sessions for that album?
For our album?
Yes.
How much food we ate.
Is that when Dre started to become Dre?
Yeah, I don't know if it was just that, but we ate a lot of food, and we have fun in our recording sessions, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and I really enjoyed the process because it was something that we created, and it seems like if we had a better support group at the label at the time, I think we would have been okay, because we would have got it. Sometimes when you come out and you do music, man, you have to realize it, especially if you're inexperienced, because we were really young. We were really inexperienced as to how to work and do some of this stuff, because a lot, and Rick signed us, and Rick wasn't always in the studio. We did a lot of that stuff on our own, so it was a learning process that had to happen, and some of our best work, when I say our, I mean Dre and myself, some of our best work was done after the original concept album was completed, when we did tracks and music for other people, that's when we were getting it, and I think if we had a chance to do another album then, it would have been a much better, our sophomore effort would have been much better.
Right.
When that album came out, what kind of response did you guys get?
Oh, we got a good response, man. We Columbia, it was Columbia Records, right? At the time, Columbia, CBS, right? They did a lot of promotions on the album. I mean, we were coupled with other groups, and it was good. We did a lot of promotion. We did a lot of promotion stuff, and then we went on tour with and we took Queen Latifah and DJ Mark, the 45 King, on tour. We took Latifah and DJ Mark out on tour, and that was a great experience. We were overseas. We were overseas places that we've never been before. We did Copenhagen, we did Brussels, we did England, and Latifah was 16 years old, and I knew she was going to be a big star too, because her, what she brought to the table. I mean, when you speak to a 16-year-old, you don't speak to them, you don't expect to hear some of the things that she was talking about. She was talking about music and fashion, and she was really progressive in her conversation. She spoke like an adult. So I knew that Latifah was going to be big, man. And plus, she was really talented. So yeah, peace out to Latifah, man. That's the homie right there.
Yeah, T-Money, let me ask you a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
You said a 16-year-old LL, 16-year-old Queen Latifah,
mm-hmm.
right? And like we've heard how Nas, for example, by the time, you know, I think around the same age, 16. What was it in your mind? What was it about that time having kids that young, but with the mind frame to do the things that they ended up doing? You know what I mean? Like like to come up with the rhymes that they were coming up with, the type of lyrics and all of that stuff. What do you think is the difference between then and now? Not saying that we don't have them now, but I mean, it just seemed like there was a different mentality going on at that time.
Well, yeah, in a sense, but you got to understand that they were special. You weren't going to find a lot of Queen Latifahs. You weren't going to find a lot of LL Cool J's.
Right.
You weren't going to find a lot of people like Nasir.
Right.
You know, they were special and they rose to the top. Cream rises to the top.
Right.
You got those same people now, and you know what I'm saying, Unc? You got those same people now, but there's a lot more of them because of, you know, things like what we're doing here, the podcast and media driven lifestyle. You know, it's more of an immediacy. It teaches you more. You understand? The people that I mentioned are really special people, man. They're special. They have special upbringings. I mean, Queen Latifah had a great upbringing, man. Her mother was amazing as a person. I can see why. Yeah, her mother was off the hook, amazing, bro. You know, really cool lady, man. She used to, you know, we used to, you know, because back then, used to always go to industry events, you know, music industry events. I mean, they have them now, but they're not like back then. Back then, they had one every night somewhere, right? And then if you see Latifah, you always see her mom. Her mom would be with her, you know. She was such a cool lady. She was such a nice lady, and, you know. God bless her. God bless her soul, man. She was official, you know. So I could see, you know, her why her maturation was so great as it relates to her level of intelligence. Because her mother was swift. You understand?
Right.
But my point is, there were, you know, there were only a handful of those type of people back then. You know, so it didn't seem. It was like, wow, they're really special. Now,
right. That makes sense.
There's a lot of them. You know, a lot of these kids now are extremely smart. 16, my daughter's 17 is smarter than me about a lot of stuff, you know? So,
right.
So yeah.
I get that makes sense. It's just sometimes I have to remind myself that like LL starting off and how old they were. Like, you know, you forget, you know what I mean, and think that they were older because of how they conducted themselves and carried themselves. And
right.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You talked a little bit about going on tour with Queen Latifah. Who were some of the best lineups that the original concept was a part of as far as the tour? That's some of your favorite memories.
Well, that was that tour. The Don't Wear Your Good Clothes tour was our tour, and we took Queen Latifah and Mark out on that tour. We also performed down in Miami, in New York City. You know, we did the Ritz. You know. And we did a lot of shows with a lot of up and coming artists, man, like, you know, Sugar Bear and, you know, which probably no one even knows.
Sugar Bear used to come out to Long Beach all the time, man.
Yeah, because he's from Long Island, my guy, man. You know, so he was, as a matter of fact, he was on the Don't Wear Your Good Clothes tour too. He came out on a couple of dates, you know, and and you know, then once see what it is that Original Concepts life as a group was very short-lived. We put out this single. We performed Knowledge Me in different places. We didn't go on tour. We only went on tour when the album came out. Just before the album came out. Then once the album came out, we didn't go on any more tours because Mtv RAPS came. So we weren't, you know, we became television people after that. You know, as a matter of fact, when we got on television, the album was still in the store. You know, people were buying the album. It was still in the store.
Wow.
So, you know, as far as us going, I mean, we went on tour more when we were, you know, just trying to get on. I mean, me and Dre were on the Raising Hell tour. I mean, that tour had Run DMC, Beastie Boys, Houdini. You know, that was an experience. You know, Dre used to DJ for the Beastie, so he went all over the place with them. You know, so we did a lot of touring like that. before we even had songs, you know. So, and when we started getting songs out, you know, our life as a recording artist was really short-lived, because then we became video host, you know, soon thereafter.
I almost thought you said video host. I was like, wait, what?
Okay, yeah, video host. I call it that.
I was like, whoa.
No, no, we're not a host. We're not
Nah.
hoes.
Nah. Hey,
Before
that tour
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, that tour you're talking about, is that the one with young Jermaine Dupri dancing with Houdini?
No, that's that was the Fresh Fest. That was
that
before
was
Raising Hell. Yeah.
okay. That was Fresh Fest. Fresh Fest.
Yeah,
Okay,
no
right,
question.
right.
Yep, that had Grandmaster Flash and them on it, Houdini.
Right. Okay.
Trying to think of who else was on that tour. There's a lot of people on that was on that tour. Different lineup.
Right.
Before we jump into your MTV Raps, you mentioned that you guys produced for a few groups. Can you mention what tracks that you guys laid down?
Yeah, we did remixes for Slick Rick, and we did remixes for Young MC. Trying to think of who else that we worked with. Well, we obviously, you know, we did our own music. Like I said, we did Proud to Be Black for Run DMC. You tested my memory, bro. You tested me right now. But yeah, that's those are what's prominent in my mind. You know,
Right.
we were gonna actually do something for Tone Loc too, but we never got a chance to do that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of this stuff was short-lived. We should have been, Dre and I should have been producing right through the time we were at Yo, but Yo got to be so, it just monopolized all our time. It just got to be so crazy, you know. Because once Yo took off, it was like, yo, okay, we're not on planet Earth now. We're someplace else, you know. There was no producing songs, you know.
Can you talk a little bit about Yo MTV and Real Hip Hop gets a major platform? What do you remember most about the early discussions about getting your own TV show and going over there with Dre and that Lover?
Well, it was, to be honest with you, Yo MTV Raps was kind of surreal for me. Because Ed and Dre actually did audition videos for the show. My role in the show came after the debut of Yo. Although I was always there. Like, remember I told you how me and Dre were always together. So what happened was they started getting fan mail, and they needed someone to actually read the fan mail. You know, they didn't want to get a production assistant to do it. They wanted Ted Demme, the late great Ted Demme, wanted to make it something special. He wanted to make it something that you know, people will remember. So, you know, they asked me to actually do it. You know, at the time, I was still working at FedEx, Federal Express, you know, and I was going to college. I was going to college, you know, for television, right? So, you know, and being at Yo MTV Raps was the best thing for me. I got to DJ, I got to work on the show and everything else. So, and so they started having me read fan mail, you know, and it was fun to do. And then that soon became something that I did semi-regular. And then after that, I started doing characters on the show, because one day we I decided to actually do something. I brought it in, and we had a meeting about it. Ed and Dre had no idea what was going to happen. So I dressed up as the real Michael Jackson. I was actually the real Michael Jackson, not Michael Jackson that you're looking at on TV. I was the one with the real pigment. I was the one with the afro. I was smoking cigarettes. I had an 8-track tape around my neck, you know, real crazy. You know, like I was straight from the hood, like my man was cracking, right?
Yeah.
So, but I wish we had that on video, because that was disgusting. I walked out with that outfit on. I had on the platform shoes. I had on high water pants, and I had on a camel mill, kind of like camel colored blazer with the real Michael Jackson on the back, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yo, it was so unbelievable. And Ed and Dre saw me, and they fell on the floor. They literally, Ed fell on the floor laughing because he was hilarious, and I was smoking. So we knew then we had something in regards to do it. Because see, what it was, we were really interested. We were very, very interested in making sure that our show was always doing something different and entertaining. So that's why we started doing characters. Ed started doing characters. He did Periwinkle, right? You know, he did Barney. You know, remember we did a gangster. We got in trouble for this too. That was like, that's when Barney was at his height, and Ed was doing a thugged out Barney with the gold chain.
Yeah.
You know, that was hilarious. So,
well, you get in trouble for that?
Yeah, because you know, come on. When Barney was hot, Barney was all about, you know, I love you, you love me, like little kids. And we made him gangster. He was talking reckless. You know, like he was from the hoods, Barney from the hood.
Oh man.
So you know, they were like, yo, you guys can't do that.
Yeah.
They aired it though. They aired it, so it didn't matter. But so I continued doing characters, then it turned into me actually being a regular on the show as a co-host. So, you know, I blossomed into that. So, and then from there on, we just did what we had to do. You know, it was fun because our show was different. You know, wasn't just about the videos; it was about us. So that's what I enjoyed about it.
Did you get any slack for the Nubianator?
No, the Nubianator was another classic. Classic. It was my creation, and you know, and with the Nubianator, unlike any other characters, I had help from wardrobe. You know, because some of that stuff I didn't have. You know, you know, I didn't have the Roman, you know, garb, and you know, I didn't have all that. So, but and everybody on the set cracked up. If you watch, we did a trailer of the Nubianator once, and everybody started laughing at the end of the trailer because we couldn't keep a straight face. We couldn't keep a straight face. You should have seen the whole outfit. It was out of control. So what are you wearing right now? You know. So I just did everything as outrageous as possible. You know, it was viewer shock that I was after. I was after viewer shock. Oh my God, what are they doing next? Oh, those guys are so crazy. You know, I didn't want it just to be about the videos. I wanted it to be about us and people going, oh, these guys are funny. These guys are your friends. They're in your living room. You know, I got to watch them every day. I enjoy them, you know. Just some three guys just chilling in the living room, chilling, you know, talking, acting crazy.
I got a question for you. Was there ever any talk of whether it was friendly competition or just paying attention to when it came to your Mtv Raps and Video Music Box?
Nah. We never once had any conversations in regards to Ralph. Salute to Ralph, by the way. Salute.
Yeah, definitely.
We never had issue, excuse me, or took issue with anything Ralph was doing. We have massive respect and love for Ralph McDaniels. So the people. I mean, I don't even know where that came from because Ralph. You know, Ralph's show was different than ours. You know, Ralph came. He was doing his stuff in New York City. You know what I mean? And what Ralph did changed the culture in New York City. I mean, Ralph was official, but that had nothing to do with what we were doing. You know, we didn't trip on Ralph. We didn't trip on anybody. You know.
And just to be clear, though, I was actually, because I've never really heard about any problems between the two. I just meant more like, you know, because Ralph was doing Video Music Box, and then you had your Mtv Raps. I meant more in the sense of like, you know, Ralph was doing his thing, if kind of like a template or just, you know, I didn't mean it like in any
no
bad
Ralph,
way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, without question, Ralph set the stage. You know, if it wasn't for Ralph McDaniels, there would be no Yo MTV Raps.
Right. That's what I meant. Yeah.
No, period, point blank. If it wasn't for Ralph doing what he did, there would be no Yo MTV Raps because none of that would have existed.
Right,
you know?
right. So that's what I meant. I just meant more like, you know, seeing what he's doing and just trying to come up with your own identity.
Yeah. Well, we were just being ourselves. We didn't view Ralph and try to figure out our own identity. Unlike what what we were talking about earlier in regards to the original concept, trying to find our identity. It wasn't the same kind of thing. We just Ed, because Ed is a phenomenal personality. You know, it's not like he has to be like somebody else. You know what I mean? Dre did radio for many years, and he's a great orator. You know, and very smart, and he understands the music like the back of his hand, and so did I. You know, so no, we didn't have to, look at Ralph or Danny Terrio or or the Box or anybody else to try to figure out who we had to be. You know, we were who we were. You know, and I'm not discrediting anybody else that that led the videos. You know, all I'm saying is that we were who we were. You know, and it translated to people who were watching, and they obviously enjoyed it. You know.
And we'll move on, but I always hear them compare, like, when they say, "Oh, who did you like better, Video Music Box or Mtv RAPS?" And I don't like that comparison, because I feel like, kind of like you said, Video Music Box stood for what that stood for, and you guys stood for what you stood for. Yeah, I don't feel like they're like two things to compare, like which one's better. You guys
Uncle E, they're gonna always compare. They're gonna always compare things like that. I mean, that doesn't bother me. We cool with Ralph. You know, I mean, like I said, again, salute Ralph. I mean, Ralph has always been cool with me, man. I have no beef with Ralph or whatever he was doing on Video Music Box. I respect him, and I respect his art. I respect him as a businessman. I never had a problem with him. So if people want to compare, that's their business. They can do that. I really don't care. You know, it doesn't matter to me. You know.
Yeah. Well, both legendary, man.
No doubt. I mean, there's room at the top for everybody here. You understand? So, I mean, why am I tripping? I'm not tripping on that.
Let me ask you, there was the who of who's coming through Mtv RAPS. Are you in the moment at the time? Or is it just kind of like, I mean, is it not surprising to you who's coming through as you look back years later and go, wow? Or were you just kind of in the moment?
No. I'm not surprised at who was coming through, because, it got to the point, where, our show was so popular, everybody wanted to be on it. And I mean, who wouldn't want to be on a worldwide? Because, I mean, honestly, Mtv RAPS became a worldwide program. I mean, we were on in Japan, we opened Tokyo, we opened China, we opened, I mean,
crazy.
I mean, we were everywhere, man. I mean, and if you were smart, and if you, had any sense about, what this show meant to the culture that you're a part of, you would want to be on the show, But everybody was happy about our success, so they wanted to be on with the quickness. Like, I mean, we're talking about actors and actresses and prominent rappers and not so prominent rappers. We had rappers that came on for the first time, and then we would do Freestyle Fridays and Live Fridays, and we had all different types of ways to actually put your artist on this particular platform and display his skills and talents to the world.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about T Money's favorite highlights? If you could pick maybe 2 or 3, what are your favorite moments?
Everybody always asks this question. It's so, because and Dre said this too. It's like, it's so hard to pick your favorite highlights. It's just very difficult. But I can say that the James Brown episode was one of my highlights, and I believe it's one of Ed's as well, because he had made mention to it. When James Brown came on, that was somebody that I was like, wow, I grew up. Let's harken back again to the to the turntables in the basement, right?
Right.
King Records on the 45.
Yeah. And then
Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Papa got a brand new bag. All these songs, right? So then I had a chance to dance with James Brown. Me and Ed and James Brown danced on Mtv RAPS.
That's crazy. Damn.
You know,
Wow.
I mean, that's James Brown. That's James Brown.
See,
I mean, forget about it. You know, as my
crazy.
Italian brethren would say, forget about it. Forget it. You know, so I mean, if I had to pick one, it would be that in the last episode, actually.
I wanted to ask you about that last episode, man.
Yeah, that was bittersweet. You know, everybody came through, and it was, you know, it was fun. But then, you know, after it was over, you realize that you're done. You know,
yeah.
It's cool. Yeah.
We'll jump back to that last episode in a moment. Can you talk about your roles in Juice and Who's the Man, and how that, you know, being on your MTV Raps led to those?
Well, I just played an extra. Me and Dre played extras in Juice. We were standing next to Queen Latifah, I think. Queen Latifah was actually the one that had the speaking part.
Mm-hmm.
And in Who's the Man, I played a character called Bubba. He was a mechanic in the movie. And yes, they were all those things happened because of your MTV Raps, obviously, but because of our popularity. And you know, it was fun to actually act. I had a speaking part in Who's the Man, you know, but it wasn't about the movie to me. It was about meeting everybody, you know, seeing people that you've never seen before. Who's the Man has so many people in it, you know.
Everybody. I mean, even KRS-One had a
KRS-One, Ice-T, you know. Tons of Bernie Mac was in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
You
right.
know, Terrence Howard was in the movie, you know. There's a lot of people in that movie, man. You know. You look back on the movie, you're like, wow, all these people were in the movie, you know?
Wow.
Yep. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe Juice, turned 30 this year. Does it seem like it's been that long?
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, it does, you know? That makes sense. that makes plenty of sense, you know? Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah,
So
peace to Omar, you know?
So let's talk about
yeah.
that last episode of MTV Raps. What was the conversations and why the ending of MTV Raps? What was going on at the time?
I still have the letter. MTV gave us a letter. It said, your MTV Raps will be canceled in 6 months.
Just like that.
Yep, because they changed executives. So the executives felt it was time to make a change. So, you know, MTV Raps was part of that change, that sweeping change of programming. And as you saw, MTV went from
music
to television shows.
Right.
You know? So that was the beginning of the progression towards TV shows, TV programming. So, yeah, the conversation was about, you know, why we have to get off the air, and you know, it was sad, you know, but we rocked it. We figured that it was time to move on. You know, no good things last forever, right? So, we made the most of it, you know. But that was pretty telling. You know, they just said that our you know, our time here is up. So,
right. Favorite moment from that last episode?
Oh, that's clearly the beginning of the freestyle, without all question. I believe it was Ed who passed the mic to KRS-One to start it. KRS-One said no, and bowed and passed the mic to Rakim. You go, and there you go. End of story. And that was massive respect.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. That set it off right there. You know,
as much as I was trying to enjoy seeing all of, you know, like a lot of my favorites that on that episode, I remember when it would go from one artist to the other, I was like hype about it, but it was sad as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, as a fan watching it, it was great to see so many together, but I was sad as hell.
I think Yo could have been on at least another 10 years.
Oh yeah, because we're talking like 90. That was 95, right?
95. 95.
And hip hop's still flourishing at this point. Like
Yo could have been on our version of Yo. Let's be clear. Our version of Yo could have been on another 10 years, easy. You know,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
but you know, the powers that be didn't think so. You know,
Right.
and how, you know, but what can you do about that now? That's past now. So
yeah.
So the end of the show is 95. Where does T Money find itself after the ending of Mtv RAPS?
Well, I went back to school, bro. I went to get my degree, the one I lost my motivation to get once I met Russell. But you know, as an adult, I figured, I said, well, I started it because I did start going to school, and I was 3/4 of the way through college, my bachelor's degree. So I decided to go back and get my degree in communications, and then I furthered my education by getting a degree in marketing, which led me to work at a marketing firm in New York City called Prasad Brothers, which was one of the biggest black marketing firms in New York City, which allowed me to understand the business of marketing, and throw events, and you know, it helped me grow in that respect. And you know, I forever owe those guys a debt of gratitude because they put me on. You know, we are neighborhood friends, you know, and these guys, they're all Ivy League grads, and their older brother worked at a record label. He was the one that signed Tevin Campbell and what is Grant Hill's wife's name? I forgot her name.
Tamia.
Tamia. Yeah,
Right.
he signed
The
them.
singer? Yeah.
Right. Tamia. He signed them, and so I learned the business from them, and you know, we had deals with Shearson and Somerset, you know, which housed Tangeray, and we did a whole bunch of events with Tangeray, huge events. So, and then I opened my own business, T450 Style and Launch, which I launched in, pardon the pun, which I launched in 2012, and I presently do special entertainment projects, you know, and I also do events, you know, with my client, the Pinot Project. It's a wine and spirit. It's a subsidiary of Pinot Noir, and you know, we're doing well right now. So
very dope.
Yeah.
Catch us up on what you currently are working on and what we can look forward to from you in the future.
Well, I'm going to be putting out sometime this year. I'm going to be putting out a line of clothing. It's going to be a denim line of clothing. I'm also going to be continuously doing events. I'm doing something next week at this place called the Mezzanine for Fashion Week next week. It's a huge fashion show that we're putting together. I'm working with New York City Live, so it's going to be pretty exciting. And we're doing some stuff down in New Orleans for Mardi Gras, and you know, we're doing events across the country. So
Nice.
I'm very excited about that. And also myself, Ed and Dre, are also going to be doing some new stuff. I'm extremely excited about that. We're presently working on a few big projects, and I am going to be in a movie soon called The Last Call. If you get a chance to watch it, it's starring Bruce Davison and Keith David. Keith David and Bruce Davison.
Nice.
But it's a horror movie. It's called The Last Call. Produced by All House Productions, directed by them. It's directed by Michael Sargent, actually. So it's going to be really dope. And then I'm also going to be in another movie with Lindsay Lohan coming up soon.
Staying busy.
Yeah, trying to. So it's just been a long road, you know. So, but still doing it.
It's great to see our heroes still doing what they love and progressing.
Right.
What was that MTV RAPS at the Barclays? 25th?
That was the 30th.
30th. Did you
amazing?
Yeah, you were there, as I imagine, T Money, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Take us back to some of the highlights, maybe from you know, reuniting with the greats.
What kind of well, I was very happy to be all of us to be together. You know, it was us me, Dre, and Ed, and then Fab too.
Fab
We're all
Five Freddy,
together.
yep.
And you know, being on stage again, looking at over 17,500 people, approximately in the Barclays. Now, keep this in mind. You know, 17,500 people of color. You know, people from overseas. You know, it was a lot of people from everywhere actually. And there was no violence. There was nobody acted up. Nobody, you know, had a gun or hurt anyone, or everybody came to watch a concert, and after that they went home or went wherever they want to. You know, it was no. Usually you get all kind of problems. You know, you get police activity. It was none of that. He had none of that. You know, and I was proud of that. You know, and I was proud that so many people came. You know, and with no promotions. You know, that event didn't have. We promoted that event in the very beginning, and it was promoted at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And 17,500 people came. I figured if we would have actually kept promoting it during a whole couple of months, that you would have needed more than one show. You know,
right?
I got my ticket that same day. That's how.
Oh,
you
wow,
know, when I found out, I was like, oh shit.
My point exactly. See, there you go.
Yep.
And the highlight of the event, although everybody from Das Effects to Big Daddy Kane to Rakim, Eric B. and Rakim, MC Light, Flav, everybody was dope to me, you know. Juice Crew, right? But KRS and Fat Joe killed it at the end, man. I mean, okay, there you go.
Wait.
There you go. Wow. That's what I'm trying to tell you. KRS and
they
Fat
destroyed
Joe
it.
Killed it.
Respect to all everybody else. They did great, but the place went crazy.
Yeah, it went bonkers, kid. When KRS did that joint, man, Step Into the World, he killed it.
Fat Joe was his hype man.
Oh yeah, Fat Joe was his hype man. How about that? That's a hype man right there, son. What?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, but they killed. You know, so it was good that he went last. You know, the great ones go last anyway. You know,
amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to the dancers too, real quick. Like, you know, Sincere had the pleasure of having Prince Low, and you know, like, so shout out to the dancers that came out with like special ed and
no question.
Great to see that going on too, man.
No question. Drez did his thing too.
Drez.
Yeah, he killed it. He killed it. I think that was his son he had out there.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Before we close out, I think we might have skipped. I want just if you could briefly touch on this. You were with Stevie J as a production team at one point?
Yeah, Stevie, Mike, Stevie's family, the Jordans and me are really close. I mean, they're family to me. You know what I mean? Right. So I got put on by Stevie's brother Mike. Yes, he does have a brother named Michael Jordan, Mike, and he's a producer too. He's a very good producer, right? So I used to DJ, you know, because you know Stevie as a producer doesn't need anybody. And okay, here we go, another moment. You ready for this one? Okay. Now I told you me and Dre produced, right? You know, we worked on Rick. I mentioned, you know, Proud to Be Black, Run DMC. You know, so you know, I walk around with pride because I know that I worked and did production on some of this music, right? So I'm thinking, you know, okay, you know, I'm feeling myself. You dig it? So I'm in the studio. I mean, it's like 2 a.m, right? So this is when I knew that I needed some help as a producer, right? So it was 2 a.m. You know, we all sitting in what studio was it? It was I think it was Quad. Matter of fact, it was Quad actually. Wow. We were in Quad Studios, right? And so we used to go there every day. You know, we would be in the studio from 12 to 12, or 2 to 2, or 3 to 3. We'd be in the studio 12, 13 hours a day, right? Steve was a beast because he would make songs. He was making songs. I mean, I worked on on a Mariah Carey song. I worked on a LL Cool J song. I worked on a bunch of songs with him. You know, but listen to this one. So and this is probably my favorite story. So he's sitting there. We're eating, right? Me, his brother's in the other room. There's somebody sitting next to us, and then the engineers are sitting there. So Steve gets up. Now there's no music playing, nothing, right? So he gets up and he stretches, just to give you the full picture. He finishes eating and he goes, okay. And he motions to the engineer, you know, turn this up. So he's tapping the MP, right? So I look at my watch. I know it's about 2:10, right? At 2:55, right? He had the most awesomest beat. Did I say awesomest? That's a word, right? He had the most awesome beat I've ever heard in my life, made that quickly.
Wow.
Now, and I mean, he played keys. It's not like he just programmed samples.
Mm-hmm.
He incorporated that in what he was playing. Like he played keys, he played guitar, he played all that. He said, hold up, wait a minute, it needs something else. He was layering with multiple tracks. I used to marvel at one of the greatest producers of all time. I think is Davey DMX.
Okay, right.
You know, he did all the early Run DMC stuff. You know,
Yeah.
Who's House and all that, right? And Dave he would do like 3 or 4 tracks in one sitting, right? But where Stevie kind of differed from him is he was more of a musician and a hip hop guy.
Okay.
So he would, you know, go the sample route, and then he would rip it up by playing music on top of it. It was disgusting. And I'm sitting there like, yo, what the hell am I doing? I don't know what to do. So let me get the hell out of here, right? So who the hell am I, right?
Right.
So I was like, yo, and I respected his talent. You know, him and his brother, they're very, very talented musicians. You know, straight out of the church. They're from the church. You know, they played in church. You know, so you know, that was another moment that, you know, my eyes like popped out of my head, like, you know, like Russell, you know, like 5'10", like, you know, like Stevie, you know. The list goes on. You know, I have those moments, and that was one of them. I was like, "Whoa, okay,
Nice.
this is what's happening." You know, this is what you're supposed to do as a producer, huh? Okay, you know.
Before we get out of here, you've been in the game well over 35 years. What does T-Money consider his greatest achievement in the industry?
My greatest achievement in the industry is probably our Mtv RAPS' influence on people overall, you know, and how they view hip hop in general, you know. Because remember I told you early on in the conversation that people had their opinions about rap music back in the day. They didn't necessarily gravitate towards it, even our own people, you know. So Mtv RAPS helped change the opinion of white America as it relates to hip hop. You know, a total culture shift. You know, and I'm kind of proud that we were able to do it in a way that was acceptable to the masses. That everybody was really interested in cutting on the television and watching us and bringing us into their homes. You know, and not knowing that we were teaching them something. We were showing them Black culture. We were showing them, you know, the beauty of Black culture and Black entertainment. You know, and it made them stop listening to rock and roll and listening to NWA and Public Enemy and Ice Cube, and you know. So I'm very proud of that, you know, and I'm very proud of, you know, how we did that to the entire world. You know, how we made the entire world change their viewpoint on hip hop, and how it grew on a corporate level. You know, I mean, hip hop, as it relates to what Young TV Raps did, generated billions of dollars. as it relates to the exposure that Mtv RAPS gave it. You know, because honestly, before Mtv RAPS, this music was local. You know,
Right. Right.
It wasn't a worldwide phenomenon. Mtv RAPS broadcast what Luther Campbell was doing in Miami to people in LA. It broadcast what Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and them were doing to people in Philadelphia. You know, it actually joined us all together as one culture. You know,
right,
absolutely, and that's what I'm most proud of.
Very dope.
Nice. Great legacy to be a part of, man.
No doubt. Thank you. I appreciate you guys, man. This was fun.
No doubt. We thank you for everything you've done for the culture. This has been an honor as a teenager watching you grow up, and now I'm talking to you. Like I said, thank you so much for the opportunity. Before we get out of here, can you leave the people with your social media and where we can find everything T Money at?
Yeah, you can actually go to my IG, which is the quickest way to find what we're doing. It's T450_ at T450_, or you can hit me at it's T Money on Instagram. You know, definitely holler at either one of those, and you'll see me. You'll see what's cracking. All right.
No doubt. This has been Changing of the Hip Hop Guards podcast. I'm the journalist Sincere. That's my partner Uncle E, and that's the legendary T Money. Thank you so much, T Money.
Deuces, man.
Yo, thank you, man. Thank you.
One.
Thank you so much. Peace.